Military tanks were deployed in southern Israel today as the war enters an 8th day. Israel's military says it plans to target underground Hamas hideouts, but Palestinians and some Egyptian officials fear Israel's ultimate aim is to push Gaza's people out through the southern border with Egypt. CTV's Adrian Ghobrial is on the ground in Israel and joins us now live with an update on the conflict. Thanks as always for joining us, Adrian. What's the latest from where you are?
Well, we're in Tel Aviv today, and it has been a quiet morning and into the afternoon, which it is here local time right now, following yesterday, which here in Tel Aviv, there were multiple rocket strikes on the area in the region, beginning at 5 p.m. Another one followed about half an hour after that, and then there was a third one into the evening. A small, about 30 minutes north, a residential community about 30 minutes north from where we are right now, did take a rocket hit, and one woman in her mid-30s was injured. Homes in the area, cars in the area, windows blown out. But here today in Tel Aviv, people are going about their Saturday and waiting to see what could be coming next in the hours ahead.
Adrian, there is obviously a very serious humanitarian crisis that's also happening in Gaza, as many Gazans are fleeing on the directive of the Israeli military, who is trying to do their best to minimize civilian casualties. They've given the directive for people to move south. However, according to many media outlets, including Reuters, that their mosques have been broadcasting messages to tell the Gazans residents to stay put in defiance of the Israeli military call, which really kind of goes towards the notion of human shields and how Hamas uses their own women and children as human shields. I'm wondering, what are you hearing in regards to that? And are Gazans taking the advice of Hamas and staying, or are they continuing to flee south to avoid casualties?
Yeah, well, what we are hearing from the Israeli side is what you just said, claims by the Israeli military and the government that Hamas is using civilians as human shields. One does struggle to understand, if you cared about your civilian population, why you would tell them to stay in place when there is a high likelihood of a military operation on the ground incoming into the north region of Gaza. When it comes to Gazans and what they are doing specifically today, we're obviously not there. It is boarded. We cannot get through those gates to go and speak with them, or we would be there. But some of our sources on the ground say that there are lots of people that are making the move. Unfortunately, there are those that can't. There's hospitals in the north of Gaza that were ordered to evacuate, and the hospitals simply said, we cannot take our patients. We don't have the means to move an entire hospital within a 24-hour period. So what will happen there and in other parts of the north where civilians may be unable to move or unwilling to move, we'll have to wait and see.
And Adrian, lastly, Israel has a population of 9 million, 2 million of which are Arabs and Palestinians who coexist, who live daily side by side. And I'm curious if you've had any conversations with the Arab population that live and reside in Israel, who have Israeli passports. How are they coping during this time when fellow Palestinians on the other side are firing rockets into territories where they live?
Yeah, as one can imagine, it's very difficult conversations being had in many households across this region right now. I did visit a hospital this past week. It's the largest in the Middle East, just outside of Tel Aviv, and 25% of the doctors there are Arab Israelis. We went to visit a family in the National Burn Unit, and outside the National Burn Unit, in the waiting room, there was a Jewish family and a Muslim family, and they were sitting together, and they were actually breaking bread and sharing food together, together in their grief. But this conflict is no doubt tearing those cultures apart. There's many people. There's an activist who's a Canadian, Vivian Silver. We haven't heard of her condition now for several days. She's suspected to have been taken captive. She worked with multiple organizations, Women for Peace, working as an ally with the Palestinian people, going into the region, people who needed medical care, more advanced medical care. She would drive into Gaza, take them out, speaking with her family. You know, they don't hold Palestinians to account for what has happened. They hold Hamas to account.
CTV's Adrian Ghobrial live in Israel. We appreciate the updates as always. Thank you.
Thank you.